This is my UFC Mount Rushmore. Now, you may not agree with me, but if you truly understand the fight game and you put aside your favoritism, your bias, and whatever you think about that fighter, I don't think you'll be able to disagree with me that much. Here we go. Number 1 on the Collins Mount Rushmore UFC list, Johnny Bones Jones. John Jones. Let's get him out of the way. Arguably, if not unanimously, hailed as the greatest mixed martial artist we've ever seen. The youngest UFC champion at 23 years old. At 23, he is already UFC champion. 2-weight division champion. Some of the wins against Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic, who is, for you guys, some of your GOATs. The longevity of him being at the top. Now, we're talking about John Jones inside the octagon. Inside. If we're talking outside the octagon, he's in Australia. But honestly, when it comes to Mount Rushmore and legendary top fighters, you cannot not have a Mount Rushmore list without John Jones. 27-1. A lot of people think he should be undefeated. But there's no man on this planet who in his prime was a more well-rounded fighter and used every single body part on his body as a weapon more than John Jones. John Jones always and will forever be on the Mount Rushmore list of fighters. Number 2 on my Mount Rushmore fighters list, brother, if you want your son high-level wrestling, send him 2-3 years Dagestan and forget. Mount Rushmore number 2 for me, Islam Makhachev. Islam is already on the Mount Rushmore list, but in my opinion, if he keeps doing what he's doing and destroying his opponents and winning, we're looking at the greatest. 2-weight division champion, currently tied for the longest winning streak in UFC history at 16 fight win streak. Some of the names, he is a streak killer. Charles Oliveira, factually the greatest submission artist in UFC history. Islam submits him in 2 rounds. The Volk, pound for pound number 1, 22 fight win streak. May I add, Charles Oliveira was on a 12 fight win streak. Islam goes to Volk's backyard, beats him, 22 win streak gone. Islam versus Volk again, knocks him out. Islam versus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Renato Moicano submits him in 1 round. Islam versus Dustin Poirier, hailed by a lot of you as the best boxer in the UFC, outboxes him, submits him, finishes him. Beats Arman Sarukian. Islam says, alright, I'm done with lightweight, I'm going up. Against Jack Della Maddalena, the UFC welterweight champion. Jack, I believe, on a 16 fight win streak. Islam big brothers him. The little guy goes to the above weight class, big brothers him. If he wins his next fight, the new all-time winning streak in the UFC will be at 17 with only one man, Islam Makhachev. I talked about John Jones being the most complete fighter, but when I think about Islam from an outside the octagon point of view, who he is as a person, he gets it. He's hilarious. But inside the octagon, he is a killer. Absolute killer. What Islam Makhachev has done and is doing, if he keeps doing what he is doing and he hangs up the gloves, the greatest. And that's it. Islam Makhachev will always be on my Mount Rushmore list. And by the end of his career, he should be unanimously on yours as well. Number 3 on my UFC Mount Rushmore. Now here's the thing, disclaimer. You can hate him, you can love him. But if you truly put your bias, your thoughts, and whatever you think about him, and take only for what this person has done inside the octagon, for the octagon and for the sport, you cannot deny ever the accomplishments that this person has done. Number 3 on my Mount Rushmore fighters list will always be the one and only, the Michael Jackson of fighting, the biggest name in fighting since Muhammad Ali, the notorious Conor McGregor. Like I said, you may hate him, you may love him, but you always tuned in on him. The most entertaining man in sport. What Conor McGregor did is nothing short of incredible. Don't even deny it. Behind closed doors, the amount of people, millions and millions of people who are a fight fan now because of Conor McGregor, you're looking at one. He single-handedly brought the sport of fighting and mixed martial arts from underground, 9:30, 10 p.m. start, let the kids go home because it's all bloody and gory, to mainstream, proper mainstream. But that's also what he did for the sport. But inside the octagon, he was a killer. That left hand, the first two-weight champion, wins in 3 division classes: featherweight, lightweight, welterweight. A champion, like I said, in 2 different weight classes. The first man ever to have 2 different belts. He changed the game. Conor McGregor's worth, what did he say? How much am I worth? 4.2 billion. 4.2 billion. That's how much I'm worth. And he's damn right. Conor McGregor, there will never ever be another Conor McGregor. What this guy did for sport, why we are a fan, is because of him. Conor McGregor, whether, like I said, take away his antics, who he is and the things he's done outside of the octagon, his personal life, what he has brought to the sport, what he started with. You got to remember, an Irish plumber has turned mixed martial arts into mainstream. A popularity like no other, a one-of-one person like no other. You cannot deny, if you truly understand and appreciate the fight game, Conor McGregor will always be and should on everyone's Mount Rushmore list. And the final person on my Mount Rushmore list, yeah, that's right. Question mark. The next fighter on my Mount Rushmore list, I'm leaving it for the future. You got to remember, this sport is so young. And you can't deny, the champions of the old, they've got nothing on the champions of the new. This sport is evolving like no other. It's a young sport. And I'm so confident in just 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, we will be seeing someone who is even greater. I refuse to believe that all the fighters we've seen, because remember, greatest of all time means past, present, future. I refuse to believe that we have seen the best of the best. I personally believe Jon Jones in his prime, in light heavyweight, no one can beat him. Past, present, future. The same goes with Islam. But like I said, with how much this sport is evolving, I'm leaving it for the future. And I'm really excited, and you'll come back to this video and say in 5-10 years time, Brody, James, Joseph, a legend of the sport and taking this sport completely to the next level. Extraordinary skills ahead. We have no idea. So I believe Jon Jones, Islam Makhachev and Conor McGregor. But the last person, I'm leaving it for the future. Come back to me when we see him. 3 honourable mentions who you're probably thinking, whoa, Collins, why didn't you mention him? Let's go through them. Number 1, Demetrious Johnson. Yes, Mighty Mouse, arguably, on a lot of people's Mount Rushmore list. I think for me, the reason why is because when I think of the greatest are on the same level. And I just don't think Demetrious Johnson is on the same level as Islam and Jon Jones. I believe that there will be someone in the future, a better flyweight than what we've seen. Not taking anything away from Demetrious Johnson, who he is and what he brought to the sport and his accomplishments. I just don't think he's the best flyweight I've ever seen. I think that's the question mark one. Great fighter, top fighter. I just think there'll be someone else out there. Honorable mention number 2, Georges St-Pierre, GSP, on so many people's list. And I get it. Absolute killer. He mauled his opponents. However, I think there are a lot of fight fans who didn't grow up watching Georges St-Pierre. And a lot of people just go with the flow. Georges St. Pierre, killer, killer, killer. But the truth is, Georges St. Pierre, in most of his fights, went to decision. And if he was to fight right now, he wouldn't get booed, but he would definitely cop it from a lot of you. Decisionator, decision. Come on. Really, really skilled. If not one of the most skilled fighters we've ever seen. But if I'm putting the greatest, if I'm putting Prime Islam against Prime Georges St. Pierre, I'm taking Prime Islam. And unfortunately, there's only one spot on the Mount Rushmore list. Georges St. Pierre, though, nothing but a legend of legends in fighting, just not on my personal Mount Rushmore list. Honorable mention number 3, Khabib. 29-0. If you were to think of any fighter who completely dismantled their opponents, it's Khabib. I said Georges St. Pierre mauled his opponents, but Khabib took mauling to a whole nother level. I agree, destroyed. But it's just a shame with how much he trained and his ability, his potential ability. Khabib, hands down, the biggest what if in sport. Oh, Collins, he was champion. I know. But with the talent and arsenal that Khabib had, I still think he is the biggest what if. You just have no idea the true accomplishments he could have had and done. But with obviously, the sad news of his dad's passing, we get it. We get it. And for that reason, I have the right to only base it off what we see. So Khabib, a legend of legends, 29-0, never lost, incredible record. But like I said, the sport is evolving so much. And look, do I think Charles Oliveira, Islam Makhachev are going to decision against Ali Quinta? No. Khabib, a legend in all rights, just not on my personal Mount Rushmore list if I'm comparing it to the other 3 on there.